When Costas stood up, he staggered, his left arm flailing. As he spun round, his eyes wide with terror, he saw the shredded curtain at the back of the room part, and Daphne brought out her face. Asian, she ran towards him. Costas! He wanted to say something, but could not think of a single word of comfort. He wanted to kiss her too, amidst the human carnage. It seemed such a wrong thing to do, and yet, perhaps, the only thing he could do. Wordlessly, he hugged her, the blood of others soaked into his clothes. Was it the American tourists or British soldiers who had been the target of the attackers? Or was it the tavern itself and the two owners? There was always a chance that it could have been a random act of violence, of which there were more and more these days. They would never know. I'll do a break here, and I'd like to say hello first, and then to let you know that this at the beginning of this chapter, the author is telling us about how the tavern exploded. It's been kind of terrorist attack. At this place, and Costas in 70s, he was a teenager. He had to meet Daphne there at the tavern, so they witnessed the explosion. Yeah, so now we'll see what happened. There were some people in the tavern. Yeah, so it's reading. There was an acrid smell everywhere of smoke, charred brick and debris. The entrance had taken the biggest hit. The wooden door wrenched off its hinges. Tiles and framed photographs ripped from the walls. Chairs splintered into pieces. Shards of porcelain strewn about. In a corner, small flames shot up from beneath an overturned table. Glass crunching under their shoes. Costas and Daphne quickly moved in opposite directions, trying to help the injured. Later, just as the police arrived and long before the ambulance came, Yorgos and Yusuf told them they should get out, and this they did, leaving the happy figure across the patio at the back. There was a full moon outside, and it was the only peaceful thing I had been seen all day. It shone with an impassive beauty, like a cold gem against dark velvet, not at all interested in the human pain down below. That night, with neither of them waiting to go home just yet, they stayed together later than usual. They wandered for a while up the hill behind the tavern and sat by an old well, hidden amidst overgrown brambles and clumps of heather, peering over the overgrown peering over the stone edge, feeling its silky moss under their fingers. They looked deep into the shaft. The water below too dark to see. They had no coins to toss, no wishes to make. Let me walk home. Let me walk you home, said Costas. At least part of the way. I don't want to go, she said, rubbing the back of her neck where a shard had nicked her earlier without her noticing. My mother and Miriam are staying with my father at the hospital tonight. He pulled out a handkerchief and wiped the tears on the suit of her cheeks. She held his hand, resting her head against his palm, not letting go. He felt the warmth of her mouth, the sweep of her eyelashes on his skin. A hush in the air, the world suddenly far off. She asked him to make love to her, and when he didn't respond immediately, she leaned back and studied him, her gaze firm, with no hint of shyness. Are you sure? He said, his face slightly flushed in the moonlight. It would be the first time for both of them. She nodded tenderly. He kissed her and said, I need to warn you, there are stinging nettles around here. I noticed. He took off his shirt and wrapped his right hand in it. He stiffed amongst the grass, pulling as many nettles as he could, tossing them aside in clusters as he had seen his mother do so many times for her soup. When he lifted his head, he found her staring at him with a sad smile. Why are you looking at me like that? Because I love you, she said. You're a gentle soul, Costas. You don't fall in love in the midst of a civil war when you're hemmed in by carnage and by hatred on all sides. You run away as fast as your legs can carry your fears, seeking basic survival and nothing else. With borrowed wings, you take to the sky and soar away into the distance. And if you cannot leave, then you search for shelter, find a safe place where you can withdraw into yourself, because now that everything else has failed, all diplomatic negotiations and political consultations, you know it can only be an eye for an eye, heart for heart, and it is not safe anywhere outside your own tribe. Love is the bold affirmation of hope. You don't embrace hope